Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. Beautiful morning here in Massachusetts. My name is Gian. I'm a solutions consultant here at Dassault Systems SolidWorks based out of Waltham, Massachusetts. Here with my colleague John. John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everybody. Thank you, Gian, for that warm introduction. And thank you everyone for being here today. Super excited to be presenting this webinar that we have prepared for you today. So with that, let's just get right into it. Show my screen here.
Look at that.
Boom. And with that, we'll stop sharing our webcam.
Don't worry, you'll see us more later.
Yeah, a little bit. So the first thing we want to note is that I'm operating entirely in a web browser here, but I don't necessarily want to be doing that. So I can, well, I don't want to, I just want to go full screen here. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right. So here is the caulking gun that we are making today. It's pretty awesome. And we're going to start with this back end component here. And from here, insert this plunger assembly that you see. It's a nice sub-assembly. And then insert this base component as well. And we're going to design this front cap from scratch. And then from there, when we get that done, Gian is going to design this nice ergonomic handle in XShape. Super awesome. Super excited. So again, let's just right into it. Yeah, that's right. All right, so here, as promised, is the back end of the handle that this is what we're starting with in terms of assembly.
Yeah, not starting with too much, huh, John?
No, we're not starting with hardly anything. But the really cool thing about data is that you just search for what you need. So in our case, just search for the plunger, and you know what we need comes up right away. So I can just drag and drop, insert this component in. I was hearing myself in the thing, and it was driving me nuts. All right, and then, so we have our component in there. Let's add some mates. And the first thing you'll note is that I'm just going to click two faces. So there is actually no mate command, no mate feature. So no more searching through all of those mate commands, try and find which one you want. Just click on two faces. It automatically knows I want the concentric mate. Therefore, I click, everything's updated. So pretty much right away, we've been able to insert a component, and yeah, it's very exciting. So let's just do that again, just because it was super fun, super easy. Base component this time. Again, drag, drop. It's pretty much in the spot we want it to, but again, we're just going to insert some mates, and we're just clicking on faces again. We have a concentric mate that we just added, and it works all the same with our coincident mates as well.
Wow, John, so I didn't see you launch a mating command, though.
Yeah, no, so again, yeah, there's no mate command whatsoever. We're just going to click on two faces, and as I click the second face here, automatically pulls up this coincident mate, automatically knows what I want to click. And we're going to see that again too, because we can do it in multiple different ways, because we need to constrain this guy. And just to kind of show some versatility, I can also select two planes as well. So if I select two planes, you can see it automatically suggests a coincident mate as well. Click that, and you know, we're up and running. I mean, just in a matter of a couple minutes, we've basically inserted most of the assembly, and now we're just going to create this the end cap right here. So just to save us some time, I did start with some sketches. We all know how to sketch, and I just didn't want to waste anybody's time. So what we want to do is just bring this into 3D right away, and to do that, I can just click on a line and drag. Now you'll notice based on in our graphics window here, what we can see is that it's propagated this, you know, almost like a surface, what it looks like, and well, it is currently a surface.
It looks like it's extruded, John.
It is also extruded. So we want to obviously make some changes, and I just pulled up that dialog box right from my graphics window, and I can actually pick the right sketch that I want, and I can change this from a surface to a thin, which is just creating a wall thickness around the sketch.
Oh, nice.
So we're like, okay, well, it's coming along, but as Gian, as you said, it's extruding, and we don't want that. So we can change that from an extrude to a revolve, because this is our super feature. So everything can be done from this one command.
Wow.
So again, we'll change that to a revolve, and I just want to select the axis of revolution, and yeah, make sure we're extruded on the right side of the sketch. Everything looks good to me. We'll go ahead and finish that revolve command. Now this isn't going to be much of a front cap if the needle of the caulking gun can't fit through here, the tube of caulking can't fit through it. So we're going to need to make some caps. Luckily, I already have this sketch prepared, so I can hit my shortcut toolbar and then bring up my extrude command dialog box here. And from here, it's pretty simple. Just basically cutting away some material. Choose through all both. Boom.
Wow.
Just cutting away some material right away. I mean, it's pretty much done. Again, we still need this little...
Yeah, you need a hole or something there, right?
Yeah, we need something. So let's go ahead and create it with a new sketch. Just picking some 2D sketch tools, napkin sketch, no big deal. It doesn't have to be exact at all. We can make it exact later. Can make these two parallel, and we can add some tangent relationships to these as well. And the last thing we want to do is maybe just add some dimensions at this point to kind of bring this down. So you'll notice it turns from blue to black, signifies that it's being fully constrained, and the last thing I can do if I want is cut away any unwanted material. So we have just one contour or one shaded area.
That's a great looking sketch profile.
To cut away, yeah, isn't it? It's pretty easy, and honestly, it's fun. Pull up that dialog box again, and we can do through all both. Now, notice I'm adding material right now, so if I press the green check, it would just make a solid block of material, but we want to cut away. So I do that, and our part is completely created at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and save that out. Just in a matter of minutes, we've created this the front cap assembly. And it's fun, easy.
That was quick, John.
It was quick. It was quick. Now we'll go ahead and insert it. So again, as part of the data manager, all we're doing is going to search front cap. Right away. Comes in, insert the component. And then I can also just kind of press the space bar in this case and just kind of orient ourselves so that way we can get it into a more favorable position so we can add those mates again. And Gian, how are we going to add those mates again?
With no mating command, huh? Just grabbing faces.
We're just grabbing faces. That's exactly what we're doing. It's all right. Okay. So now we're just going to click some more faces again. Same thing with the coincident command.
Just making those faces nice and flush.
Yep, making those faces nice and flush.
Looking good.
But the thing is, we're still, left with this, question, like we still have one more thing to constrain, and how can we do it?
So you're going to mate those planes again, John?
Well, we could do it that way, surely, but I just want to show again that it's still very versatile. I can choose this face and this plane right here. So, and then we have the option to do a coincident mate, but in our case, since we already had that concentric mate, which is the cylindrical mate, we want to choose parallel in this case. And that's just going to update, and it's all in the exact shape that it needs to be. So the last thing we need to do is just post this to the community. I want to show my team that I'm proud of what I've accomplished so far, and let them know that you're ready to create that nice ergonomic handle. So let's just recap what we did. We started with this back end of the handle. Inserted the plunger assembly from there, added a base, and then also inserted added the end cap as well. So let's go ahead and share that to communities. We're proud of the work we just did, right? So from here, just go up to share the picture, and we're just going to publish it to communities, making sure we're sending it to the right place. And we can add a title, and I'm going to say, Gian, the caulking gun is ready for you. And I'm just gonna
Perfect.
publish it.
Yeah, just making sure that's in the right place. Perfect.
All right. And now it is Gion's turn to take us through XShape. So let's see what you got, Gian.
Perfect. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen here. And I just want to refresh this page so I can see what you did, John. And looks like we're having a little bit of a refresh issue, but that's no problem. We'll just refresh the browser. That's a great thing about being in the browser, is that you can always just do that instead. So, and look, I can see your message right here. Not a problem at all. I can see that you are ready for me, so I'm going to jump to my design tab now, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be working on the same assembly that you were just working on. So I can see all of the same changes that you just made. Look at that, perfect. I can see everything you just added. I'm going to go ahead and hide my planes so that you can get a little bit more of a clear view of this. And yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and start making a nice ergonomically shaped handle that's going to be all one thin body, just like these. It'll be a nice sheet metal component. And I've already started a part here, so I'm just going to go ahead and double click that so that we can enter into that and start editing it. And you'll see that I've already added a plane here and I've added a sketch. So our only real constraint for this is that we want to cut away this profile on the inner bounds of my sketch here. And other than that, as long as it's thin enough to fit within the outer part of the handle, then we are fine. So that's what makes this a perfect use case for XShape, because we want a nice ergonomic handle and we're not too constrained. So I'm going to click the X key on my keyboard so I can switch over to XShape and access all of my amazing subdivision tools. So you'll see we have a nice seamless transition here. And subdivision modeling is quite different from parametric. So we're not everything is sketch driven. And we, not everything is sketch driven. It's all different. It's all just one body that we're going to be manipulating and pushing and pulling into place. So I'm going to go ahead and just insert a kind of a dummy body, what we call a primitive body here, that we can start pushing and pulling. And I can scale this uniformly or in all three principal directions. Does not make a difference. And I can also scale in any of the three principal directions, you know, whatever best fits my needs right now. So if I wanted this a little bit thinner, I can do that. You know, it's really giving us all the power.
So, Gian, let me ask you. So, say you think you have it right, but then you need to make changes later. Can you do that easily?
Oh, easily, John. You see, I completely changed the amount of segments I have controlling this body before inserting it. It's just as easy to do that after. So now the next thing that I want to make sure I have enabled on this before I really start editing it is I want to make sure that I have some symmetry. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line of symmetry down the middle, and you'll see it get highlighted with this green line cutting down the middle of my subdivision body, and we're good. So I'm going to switch to my side profile now and start pushing and pulling this into place. And you'll see what we call the robot up here. So this is the robot tool right here, and it allows me to translate, it allows me to rotate, and it allows me to scale in whatever direction I want, all in one tool, which is pretty amazing. You know, really, once again, just giving a lot of the power to the user and letting them decide what's best for them, how do they want to model, and saving as many clicks along the way as we can. So I'm slowly going to get this body into shape here, but like we said before, this is going to be a sheet metal component. So we want to make sure that it can basically act as a surface. So I can just start deleting faces to create a surface here, and it'll create a surface of whatever faces I leave left on the page. And I can just use my delete key on my keyboard, and look at that. Just like that, we're now editing a surface. Super easy. And we have, you know, not a ton of control points on here, but we can easily change that. So like you were saying before, John, if I wanted to add more control, well, now I'm ready to start adding some of these divots for my fingers. So I can just start clicking on edges that I want to add one perpendicular to. I want to add an extra loop, and just keep going down the row until I have the ones that I want. So I'll just keep doing that until I'm ready. Say I want one more right there, and that looks pretty good to me. Maybe one more just for kicks. Just for kicks. And that looks good to me. So now I think that I'm ready to start adding those divots. So I'm just going to select all of every other edge that I want so that I can just pull it right in and create a nice kind of shape for my fingers there. But you'll see by default, the robot is going to be selected and going in the normal direction, the lateral, and transverse. So if I want to switch that, I can just set it to XYZ, and now I'll only be moving in XYZ. So let me select those edges that I want, and now I can only move them in XYZ and get that geometry that I'm looking for. That'll be nice and ergonomic.
Wow, that looks like a big time saver on it.
Oh, huge time saver, John. This is a big one for sure. So it looks like we have a good amount of geometry there, but maybe I want to make that a little more exaggerated. I'll just grab the other edges this time. Maybe I'll grab this top one too, and I'll just drag it out a little bit more. Yeah, and now it's even more exaggerated. Really no thought, no science or anything, just pushing and pulling.
So easy, even I could do it.
Yeah, I bet, John, you could do it, honestly. Even you could do it.
Saying something.
So now I generally have the shape that I want, but I need to make sure that I can manufacture this. So I'm going to go ahead and use my draft analysis tools, and I'm going to show my plane so I can select the ones I want. And this is the other part that we started with. This other plane we already had in here because that's the plane I want to draft from, and we'll accept that. And you'll see that the green color means we're good. We don't need any more draft. We have what we need there. The yellow color is what needs draft, however. So John, get ready for a little bit of magic here.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm waiting.
I'm going to double click this edge so that I can select the whole thing, and you're going to just watch this yellow color disappear before your eyes as I just pull this in.
Oh, no, you're going to need to do that again.
Yeah, that was too fast. That was too fast. Let me show you one more time.
Okay.
So we start with the yellow or the red color if we have negative draft, and I'm just going to pull it in, and the color dynamically changes to show exactly what changes I just made.
Wow, manufacturable, just like that.
Beautiful. So I can go ahead and get out of my draft analysis, and before I exit the subdivision environment, I just want to make sure that this part is thin enough. So I'm going to go back in and edit it one more time. I'm going to turn off my draft, and it looks like we're well within our bounds. Honestly, we could probably use a little more thickness, so I can just double click this one of these faces to grab the entire thing. I'm going to switch to the back view, and I can just drag this whole thing out a little bit closer to my inner bound edge there.
Wow.
Make this a little bit thicker, a little bit easier for your hand to hold. And I'm just going to accept that. And we are looking quite good right now. Now, what we want to do before we start adding our parametric features is I just want to give this surface a thickness. So I'll go to my Features tab, and then I'm just going to add my thickness there. I'm going to make the whole thing, let's make it 1 millimeter thick to match the rest of our model. And I want to make sure that we're selecting the entire body. And the other thing I want to make sure is that we're thickening to the inside and not the outside of this model. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch that arrow, and we're good. Now we have a solid body that's fully integrated into our part, and we're able to add parametric features to this. So why not do just that? And then switch back to XDesign so I can add that geometry up top that we were talking about and use our sketch to cut that away. So I'll just go into my Features tab and launch a new feature. I'm going to make sure that this is a cut, and then I'm just going to grab my whole sketch. We'll make sure that that's going through everything, and just like that, we're good. Beautiful geometry. But yeah, it looks like we left a little bit of extra material here. And just like in desktop SolidWorks, there's always at least 2 or 3 ways to do things in XDesign and XShape. So if I wanted to, I could go back and edit my initial surface that we were manipulating, or I can just go into my sketch. Rather than go back into XShape, I can just go into my sketch, and I can just change one dimension. I'll just make this 35 a 50 now, and then exit that. And just like that, we're all taken care of now.
Wow.
Now, the last thing that I want to do is I'm not trying to cut my fingers on the bottom of this thing.
That's sharp.
Yeah, on a Monday morning, that'll ruin the rest of my week. I'm going to go ahead and just get a nice fillet command, and I'm going to grab an edge. We'll just grab this one here, and you'll see this selection helper comes up, and it's making other suggestions. So it selected that other edge for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and accept that, and it knows that that's what I want.
Wow.
So I'm going to make this a little bit of a bigger edge, so it's nice and round for us. Nobody's going to cut their fingers, and we'll go ahead and accept that. And that's
cutting their fingers on that now.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. And this is looking beautiful now too. I think that this looks pretty good. So I think let's go back to the assembly. Go back to our assembly mode. You know, kind of an assembly mode, even though everything is the same type of file here. And now we want to start mating this, because right now this is just free to drag around. So what we want to do is just add a nice concentric mate between this hole right here and our pin going through the whole model, and we will be able to do that. And sometimes, you know, things might freeze up on you. Nothing that a little refresh can't help out. So
the office, man. Everybody's on Facebook.
Everybody's on Facebook on Monday morning instead. So we'll just refresh this, and we're going to show exactly how good our restoration capabilities are, because I can just click restore here on my XDesign landing page, and within a matter of seconds, you know, you have a little internet glitch. We're right back where we started. Didn't miss anything. No worries there.
Wow.
So now let's go ahead and add that mate that we wanted to. Go ahead and select both of these and add that concentric mate. And that's looking great.
Works like a charm.
Like a charm. And the last mate we want to add is we want to make sure that these tabs right here are actually driving into this this metal component right here that's attached to our rod. So I'm going to add a nice tangent mate. I want to make sure that that geometry, that back face, is tangential to the round part of this tab. So I can do that. I'll make this tangent, and just like that, we'll have a fully functioning model. And John, are you ready to see this thing work?
I am.
Let's just drag a face, and oh, look at that. Look at that. Just like how you'd expect a caulking gun to work, you know, minus some of the springs in here, but you get the general gist of what's happening here. And we were able to do quite a bit in a rather short amount of time.
Quite a bit in a rather, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So at this point, we're going to open it up to questions. We did see that a lot of people are having some issues with audio in the beginning. That was our fault, but we'll be sure to be better about that in the future. We appreciate you reaching out to let us know.
Yeah.
And if there's any information that you missed that you're worried that you'd like to get your hands on, feel free to reach out to us after this, or just type your questions into the question box right now, and we will answer them as best we can. We will have a hard cutoff at noon, because we want to be respectful of everybody's time. But if we don't get to your question, we'll be sure to reach out individually. Last thing before we start answering questions, just want to let you know, if you're interested in a free trial of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you can go to solidworks.com/online product. Well, I'm not even going to bother saying the link, because in the chat box, you'll find a link to that, and we're going to send out a link in our follow-up email. So no need to memorize any links. And without further ado, let's go ahead and answer some questions.
All right. So, Gian, we have one. Maybe you can answer. So, are the part and assembly files different? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit. Maybe you can go a little bit more into.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of glanced over it a little bit, but yeah, that is 100% true. We do have no delineation between part and assembly files, which really makes things easy, especially if you're familiar with top-down modeling, top-down assembly modeling. It's just so much easier without having to jump back and forth between assemblies and parts to edit, or going into the editing mode while in an assembly. You know, it's really helping out the user there, saving a lot of time, and adding some functionality there for you.
Okay, good. We have another question here. It says, where do my files go when they get saved? I guess I'll take that one.
John, I think you can take that one.
Yeah, so basically, just to kind of, without going into too much depth, you get your own secure portion of the Dassault cloud. So only people who have access to the content, or the only people, I should say, that have access to your content are the people that you grant access to. So, but you, as a user, have access from anywhere and any device. So, and that's all because it's tied in with a username and password. So if I log in on an iPad, I can collaborate on an iPad. But those part files are still very secure and still safe, and I don't have to share them with anybody who I don't want to. So hopefully that clarifies some things.
So John, I think we got another question here you might be able to answer. How do we get parts from SolidWorks to the platform?
Okay.
You can answer that?
Yeah, sure. So we get parts from SolidWorks to the platform. I see there must be a lot of SolidWorks users. So we have the SolidWorks Connector. So if you're familiar with PDM or other data management, like in SolidWorks with our PDM, we have the task pane that opens up on the right side, and from there, if you have the connector, it's just a window where it's a one button click, and you can get your models right up to the cloud and log into the platform and use your SolidWorks models, and you can go back and forth seamlessly. So that's really exciting. Really exciting feature. So at this point, I don't really see any other questions.
Yeah. I think that, and it's 11:59. We want to be respectful of anybody's time. So if there are any last questions, we'll be sure to follow up with you individually to send you an answer. And again, look for that follow-up email for a link to try the 3DEXPERIENCE platform for free for 7 days. Or you can always just click the link in the chat box on the webinar window to get to that. And if we have any resellers or other internal employees here at Dassault Systems on the line, and you like this demo and maybe you want to give it yourself or just want to see it again up close, go ahead and reach out to us, and we will be sure to figure out a way that we can make that happen. We want to do as much content sharing as we can, and remove that duplication of work, especially if you love caulking guns, and this is perfect for you. But with that,
all right,
we're just about done. So
thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Enjoy your lunch.
And hopefully we'll see you in another 2 weeks at our next bi-weekly webinar every other Monday.